All right, David, in 2024, where are the opportunities going to exist in the real estate market?
Really good question. One of my favorite questions that comes from clients as well. I see, compared to the last few years, cottage country is going to present us with a lot more opportunities. A lot of people were purchasing cottages during the pandemic, very emotional purchases with the thought that they're going to be there working full time, or that, who knows when commercial flights are going to be happening, what are we going to be doing downtown, that sort of thing. Now people are going back to their normal lifestyles and they're realizing cottage isn't for me, or they can't afford it. So a lot more cottages are coming up, and that market is going to be a lot more attractive to people who've been sitting on the fence for a few years.
And in terms of, I know, like Muskoka is always kind of the hotbed of cottage country. That's the first thing that comes to mind. But like, where are some other overlooked areas of cottage country?
Another great question, and I love that one as well because, I'm really passionate. I love the Kawarthas, even up around Bancroft, Apsley area, and even Haliburton is somewhat overlooked by people from the GTA, and they're all so close. You're within 2 to 3 hours. You have all of these gorgeous lakes that, in my mind, they're just as nice as the Muskokas. They just don't have that name. So that's where I always point my clients. And another thing I should mention is Prince Edward County. Everybody knows Prince Edward County at this point, but it's becoming more reasonably priced again. There's not so much competition, and there's a lot of people moving out at this point. So,
in terms of challenges in 2024 in the real estate market, what do you think are going to be the greatest impediments for people?
I think it's going to be more of the same story that we've been seeing for years now. We have a real lack of housing in the GTA, and we have so many people coming in. We have hundreds of thousands of people coming in a year. So those first-time home buyers, they're going to be competing for not very much stock, especially once interest rates start coming down. We're already seeing multiple offers in some areas. And same thing for those people moving up into that second or that forever home. They're having more trouble qualifying at the higher interest rates we're seeing. And some of that equity that they thought they had has been quashed in the last couple of years since prices have been coming down since 2022.
For sure. And speaking of prices, I think a lot of people want to know where are prices going to go, specifically in Ontario real estate or GTA. Are they going up? Are they going down? What's happening this year?
I don't have a crystal ball, but a lot of experts are saying that first quarter of 2024, there's going to be some opportunities. And then once interest rates start coming down, all those people who've been sitting on the fence, those first-time home buyers, those people who've been waiting to make that move, they're going to be out there and active. And I think we're just going to keep on seeing prices go up. All right, Tyler. So right out of the gate, everyone wants to know 2024. Where do you think interest rates are going?
It's the $1 million question, David. And for variable rate mortgage holders specifically, there's good news on the horizon. It looks like we'll probably see the Bank of Canada starting to make some cuts by mid-year. That's up for debate by how much and how soon that will happen. But most economists predict a 1 to 1.5% drop in the key lending rate this year, which means variable rates would fall by the same amount. In terms of fixed rates, they've already started to kind of come down in advance of the expectation that variable rates will be falling. But in general, variable rates are still sitting about 0.75% higher than the average fixed rate. So, if you can take on some of that risk, the higher payment to start with the higher rate, the reward is probably greater down the line as variable rates generally outperform fixed rates 70 to 90% of the time.
Right. And that kind of leads us into my next question, because I get asked this all the time by clients, and I always refer to their mortgage broker. Fixed versus variable. I understand right now fixed rates are very attractive. They've come down quite a bit. What kind of conversations are you having with your clients right now about fixed versus variable?
Yeah, and this seems to change almost daily. The conversation in November and December, the conversation I was having with these clients were, more leaning towards fixed. But now as we head into January and, even though the inflation data came back a little bit higher in December, I think that's more of a blip, the general consensus is rates are going to come down. So, the variable rates are taking more popularity now, but in general, people are still taking the fixed rates for the predictability and lower payment to start. Again, we're not sure how soon and how fast the Bank of Canada will be cutting that key lending rate this year.
Right. So it's coming down to what they qualify for and how risk averse they are.
Absolutely.
Right. Amazing. Well, thank you for that. And I guess I have a lot of clients that are self-employed or not necessarily salary income earners. So that can be complicated when it comes to qualifying for a mortgage. So what specifically are you doing for your clients that are in those positions?
Absolutely. I think the common thread I see with self-employed individuals, a lot of them try to write off their income on their tax returns to pay less tax to the CRA, which makes complete sense as self-employed individuals like ourselves. But when it comes to qualifying for a mortgage, it can be a bit inhibitive because these lenders, the institutional banks, use the net income you're reporting on your tax returns. And oftentimes that's not enough these days to qualify for a mortgage on a house you need. So we have to get creative and use what's called the stated income approach, which is, we analyze an individual's 6-12 months business bank statements, determine an annual income off their deposits, the income deposits coming into their account, deduct some reoccurring expenses that we see on the statements, and generally we arrive at a higher qualifying income for those clients than we would if we were using the net income from their tax returns.
Right. Amazing. Well, that's very helpful. Thank you so much, Tyler.
Thanks, David.